Just give me.
Yeah. Hi guys, just give us a second, trying to figure this out.
Hi. Okay. I think now that should be better.
Okay, now I think we have you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? How's lockdown treating you?
Oh god, lockdown is just going on and on and on. Hang on. Anisha, I think the network is a little bit iffy. Can I request you to drop off and come back on again?
Sure. I'll just. Collection, either changing our fabrics, which we manufacture ourselves, or changing the design and just adapting previous designs according to what we see, what consumers like the most. And our products range from, different shapes, sizes. So we have tops, leggings, shorts, sports bras. And we use a bunch of different fabrics. So from poly blends to cotton blends, we try to incorporate everyone's preferences. Because when it comes to being active, I mean, some people prefer looser garments, some prefer tighter garments. So we try to have that whole range within our offering.
Okay, fantastic. And is there...
Getting cut off again. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
I can hear you. You can. This is just my having trouble. Let me try and go on my as well. Yeah, I got to.
So I can't hear you well at all.
Okay, is it better now?
I can't really see you. You're sort of joining in and out. Hi, back.
Is it better?
Yeah, I can see you now. Yeah.
Network. I've tried both. Guys, can you hear me and see me now? This is so
Yeah,
bad.
I can.
Okay, is it better?
Yes, I think so. Someone is saying not visible.
All right. Otherwise, I'm gonna need a laptop. Please, Vikram, can I borrow your laptop if this doesn't work? Okay, so all right. Sorry about that. Sorry about the disturbance. So you were telling us about how the fabrics can be different depending on whether you want a loose or a tight fit. And is there any recommended fit? Should you be working out in something that's more fitted or something that's looser? Is that
It's really entirely up to you what you like and what you feel the best in, so we don't have any recommendations when it comes to that. It's just feeling the most comfortable, and also making sure that you can move in the garment. That essentially is why we make activewear, so that it stretches with you. So that's our reason for using different fabrics is purely because we can see that people just have different preferences. That's it.
Fantastic. Yeah. And your price points sound amazing as well. I mean, as someone who's shopped around the market for stuff to work out in, I think from, sub kind of 2,000, 2,500 sounds amazing, because usually you'd get, a workout top, which is a couple of grand, and with fitness, especially if you're working out, let's say 4 or 5 times a week, you tend to go through them so fast. You don't want to end up, investing half your month's income on fitness wear.
So that's something that we try to keep. That's a promise that we keep to our customers, is that we don't want to ever increase the price of our products by much. We constantly work on keeping the product price low, because we know you need to have, firstly, so many garments to be, like you're saying, if you're working out 4 or 5 times a week, you're going to be recycling those clothes continuously. So we don't want it to hurt if you're buying a bunch of different products from us. And I mean, it's something that should be priced at an affordable price point, and that's something that moving forward we are very, very conscious of.
That's fantastic. And tell me something, how did you come up with the name Kika? Because I absolutely love it. Does it have a significance?
No, I actually just wanted something that sounded active, and Kika was something that resonated really well with people. When I was doing like the whole market study initially, and when I came up with the concept, I brought like a bunch of people together, friends, and also like a focus group that I conducted to see what names resonated, and Kika was one that just everyone sort of left and remembered after a while. Like after a week, they still remember the name. So I went with it, and I mean, yeah, like I said, it sounds active, which is what I definitely wanted in the name.
It does, and the way that you guys have done the logo as well, I mean, it lends itself so well to the entire brand. It just fits. Like, I mean, there's nothing that seems a little disjointed out of that. It just flows really, really well. And I love the names. When we were coming up with names for our daughter, I was like, Kika. I'm not
so someone asked Happy Jazz, how long ago did you guys launch?
So it's been about 3 years for us as well. We've been around since 2016 end. So yeah, it's been an up and down journey. And I guess right now we're one of the few brands that's managing to have at least some kind of production ongoing as well. So I actually wanted to ask you that. Yeah, I know. And I just feel so bad that, there's businesses that, because I was discussing this with Vikram yesterday, for a brand like you, for example, can you get any orders from anywhere at all?
No. So we can't, unfortunately, we are accepting orders, but we can't deliver or fulfill those those orders right now because, we can't be sending people to our warehouse. We have a warehouse where we stock all our clothes, so we can't be sending people to the warehouse to package those clothes and then ship them out right now. We sell on different portals as well, like Nykaa, Amazon, all that is paused right now. So for now, we're just working on other parts of our business. Hopefully soon enough, e-commerce will restart. I don't think it should take much longer, and then we'll be ready. We've been working on a new collection for a while, just waiting to launch. So hopefully soon. May 3rd is our dream date right now.
Yes. No, everyone, it's amazing how we've just shifted our dream dates forward by 2 weeks every time the extension gets announced. But I feel like, even in the beginning, we thought everything was so new and it was so different to have, the situation is surreal, right? When you think about the fact that no one's moving out, no one's being able to work, food is it's not a commodity anymore, it's a luxury. I mean, being able to find things like even powder, yeast, stuff that you would think is normal. But it's very freaky to think that. And now I think it's become a little more normal, which is maybe even more scary.
Because we've been in it for so long, you get used to, we adapt pretty easily, I think, human beings. So it's been 6 weeks of this. Now everyone sort of got their routine, they're comfortable in, this way of life. People are saving time on commuting, which I would say is obviously a good thing. I'm sure people are seeing some peaks in productivity as well. But yeah, it's like they keep saying, it's the new normal.
The new normal, and a very, very scary new normal. But tell us a little bit about your background. So where were you before Kika, and what kind of pulled you into entrepreneurship?
So I lived in New York before I moved back to India and started Kika. So I was there for about 4 years. I worked in 2 different advertising agencies. And I basically worked a lot on like building up a brand, which is where that's when I really loved that whole aspect of your visual identity and the brand language and creating a whole sort of identity behind just a name. And before that, I studied in University of Pennsylvania in Philly. So I was there for 4 years. Sorry?
UPenn.
Yeah, UPenn. So I was very happy in New York. I loved my job. I loved what I did, but I always knew that, there was a time when I would want to come back to Delhi, and I decided that that was my time. And I was very keen on starting something of my own. I didn't really know what, but I did come back with the idea of, okay, there isn't a good activewear brand in India, and living in a city like New York, I saw how it had blown up, like in terms of, health and fitness, of course, like in terms of the way people were eating and the daily activity that everyone was involved in, but also the whole athleisure aspect, I saw it firsthand, and I definitely, when I would visit India from the States, every time I would come, I was like shocked at all the new things that were opening up in Delhi. So I definitely saw that it was going towards that direction, and just thought that, when I think of any activewear brands, it's all international brands. There's nothing Indian that comes to mind. So that's the thought that I came back to India with. And then when I moved, I just started conducted a full marketing research study to see what actually is going on in the market, who's there, what are the price points. And I did that for about 3-4 months before I actually launched Kika. So yeah, and I would say that my experience in New York really helped me, firstly, with my work ethic, because everyone there is so driven, and it's really like great to learn and work with people like that. And entrepreneurial wise, my whole family they've been entrepreneurs, and I've seen it growing up from a young age. So I've been pretty clear that that's what I wanted to do.
Nice. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit scary when you hear about starting up your own business, but if you've seen it, I guess, firsthand, then you know the challenges and the pitfalls and the happy times as well.
For sure, and I'm seeing that every day. Like it's still a learning process for me, we're still in our early days. There's a lot that we went through in the start as well when I started Kika that I guess I didn't know, I didn't expect, and we went through a lot of sort of down periods where I had to take a step back to figure out, like, let's say my manufacturing or my supply chain. And I really feel like in the last 6-7 months, we've fixed a lot of those problems. But those are things that you can only actually experience once you do it,
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think even in terms of manufacturing for us, we weren't manufacturers. We weren't even into food before we started Happy Jars, right? And
I think in some background? Like where?
So we both marketers. We're both in the marketing field before. So Vikram was doing digital marketing and I was doing the boring offline stuff. And then when we decided to get into this, it was basically because we just loved food and we, wanted to do something in this area, and protein was important. So I guess, but the entire process of manufacturing is something that we had to learn from scratch. And I just feel like it teaches you so much that when you're starting your own business, and now I see these 1-year courses on entrepreneurship, and I just wonder what they teach you, because how can you teach someone to deal with a new challenge every day? Like, it just seems so crazy, You have to do it you have to live through it, I think, to know that you can. And get
so you guys manufacture your own product?
Yeah, we do. So we have a factory in Delhi as well, and that's one of the reasons that we've actually had a little more perhaps normal last 5 weeks, because we still managed to keep the factory open and we've got movement passes. So we're just doing factory.
Have you been facing any other challenges like through lockdown, or has it been pretty standard? And
no, there's challenges like every day. I mean, yesterday we ran out of jaggery. The day before that we were out of almonds.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, are you getting your peanuts? Are you getting your ingredients easily?
With great difficulty, and there's trucks that are stuck on the way. The suppliers can't do anything, so you're having to buy different brands of the commodities that you were used to earlier. And then in a manufacturing process, when you're committed to a taste profile, it's very difficult in agricultural products to make that match. So every batch of peanuts, you have to be on it to make sure that the taste is exactly what Happy Jars is known for. So it's been hard, but I think also it's been a very interesting time. Hopefully one that will come only once in any of our lifetimes.
Yeah, I hope
but if
so.
you make it, if you make it, you're the stronger for it. So looking forward to that. Also wanted to ask you, actually, tell us a little bit about the Women's League. When did you start in football, right? That's so unusual. That's amazing.
So the Women's League, basically, when I moved back, I used to play football growing up, like through school. I played a lot of football with girls. As surprising as that is to a lot of people who I say that to, there were a lot of girls when I was in school who were playing football. And then when I moved back, I had a lot of guy friends who were very involved in the whole football scene, but no one else was really doing anything. And with like 5 or 6 of my friends who we used to play with earlier, we formed a WhatsApp group to just be like, okay, let's start again, let's start playing football. And very organically and slowly that group grew. And,
wow.
We were playing regularly, like twice a week. We would meet and play just like 6-a-side, all girls. And everyone was like super into it. And then I basically decided once that like we used to keep doing events, like whether it's with BoxFit or, like doing different classes, like a yoga class or a boxing class. So I decided that football should be our next sort of camp. So when I put out the creatives on that, I opened it up to beginners as well. And that's when I saw like a crazy interest in learning how to play football. So the group was split, like half the people had played growing up, and then there was the 50% rest who had never ever touched a ball before. And the event did really well, like in terms of the responses from the women after the event. They were all keen to like regularly train and practice. And I just took that as an indication that, okay, this is something that we're onto and we should like pursue this further. And like two of my really old family friends basically played in a league, and they were like, you should absolutely do a league on your own. Why even? Because I was thinking like, oh, we should approach someone, get them to host a league. And they were like, why won't you do it? Like, it's you have the brand, you have the messaging, you just have to, you have the platforms, you just have to put this together. And so that's basically how I decided to start the Kika Women's Football League. And it was actually amazing to see the kind of response and the kind of women that joined the league. It was all ages, like a 13-year-old to like a 45-year-old playing in the same league. People from all over, like really, really like good group of women. And it was competitive, but like everyone is so encouraging, women being women. So it was just like an amazing platform. And I'm 100% going to continue doing this, and it'll be like, it'll be something that we do twice a year. Right now, just football, maybe eventually other sports as well. And
I think the fact that football is amazing.
Yeah, it's such a great sport, and like really, it's like everyone who's joined, I would say, like they're just shocked to see like how encouraging everyone else is. Like it's just like it's really nice. Like the energy is great, and yeah, I mean, I would never think that like a 30-year-old would want to learn a sport at this age. Like especially football. Like it's not like an easy sport to pick up. Like it's really yeah.
Exactly. No, and the only thing I know, so I used to play football. I was forced. Let me be honest. I was forced to play football when I was in school, and I was very young at that time. And my first the first time I played, I got forced into going for a match because I was 10, and it was the rule of the school, and I was new to the school, and I just got bullied, and they were like, you have to go, you have to play, and all, and full on self-goal. I had no idea what was going on. But I cheered also. Like everyone on the opposite side was cheering. I was cheering as well, like an idiot.
Or was that the end of it?
No, that was the first and the last. I very gracefully.
That was the last.
Yes, well.
Hopefully we can get you back.
I know, well, maybe. No, I'd love that. But it's just so fascinating because as a sport, even just the drills that you guys have in football, they are so hard to do. And now they've become a part of, I guess, more common training, right? A lot of trainers who are doing generic fitness training as well tend to go back to football drills, which is
exactly. Like basic football drills, I think it's just the best way to stay fit, and that's what, like, women came there for a lot of different reasons. One, I would say a big part of it was like the community of meeting new women. And I would say a lot of the women were working professionals and people you wouldn't have access to. So that was one big reason. And then the second huge reason was to stay fit. And football is honestly the best way to stay fit. Like it uses your entire body. You're sweating all the time. There's nothing like a good sweat. So like, I really believe it's just like one of the best sports. And it's a great way, and it's a great, it's just like a great bonding experience,
And also having a sport that you can use for fitness, I think, is so important, and it's so it's underrated. I feel nowadays with kids maybe not getting as much exposure in school to sports as well. But like Vikram always had horse riding, and I feel jealous almost, to say that there's something that forces you to be fit and be active, which you love so much that you don't mind the effort. The rest of us are huffing and puffing and dying on that third burpee. But if you have a sport, I don't think you feel as much of you feel more exhilaration, right?
For sure. And I mean, the gym isn't for everyone, Some people don't like pushing themselves like that. And with sports, it becomes like you're part of a team, so it comes very naturally.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, interestingly, Yeah, I was told by a doctor that you shouldn't, I mean, if someone's running a marathon, for example, or running like a competitive race, you lose control of your, you get out of touch with what your body is feeling because you're so high on adrenaline.
For
So I
sure,
guess when
yeah.
you're in a sport as well, that has, a completely different effect on your body, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So
You're
when
like
is the
on
next?
another planet.
Yeah, absolutely. So is the league, you said twice a year. When have you already finished one and then you're going to
So
go
we
again?
finished, our first season, it literally finished on March 8th. It could not have finished at a better time, but it started February 2nd, finished March 8th. I had plans to do season 2 in July, but obviously I just have to wait and see what happens. But hopefully we can do it this year. So yeah, the idea was to do one season, Jan, Feb, March, and then the second season a little bit before Diwali to just avoid the pollution and all of that. But everything is TBD right now. So
I know. So tell me about what's happening with you on lockdown, considering that you're.
yeah, of course, like I said, we can't fulfill any orders right now. But that being said, it's a time that we've gotten to sort of pause and look at our business and look at our structure of our business and fix things internally. So it's actually been really great. Like, we've been working a lot on content, which I think has been really nice for our customers also, because we've seen a lot higher engagement, providing stuff to them that's actually useful. So we've been focusing a lot on our content. And then I would say just like, doing things like website audits and, looking at data that we haven't had the time or chance to look at previously, spending time with the team to figure out what they like, what they don't like, just working on things internally and making sure that we're ready to go like 100% once lockdown lifts.
Amazing. It's all the things that you wish you'd had time for in a normal work week.
Exactly. I honestly, of course, it's not great not being able to leave the house, but like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity where it's like a literal pause in life to evaluate everything and then move forward. So it's good. I think we will see a lot of positive effects on our business after this.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's so good to hear you say things so positively. And I hope a lot of people who are watching are going to feel that, it's not all doom and gloom. It's good. It's good to be able to take that pause, like you said. And like you said, if you guys as a sport, it's a good thing.
Yeah. Do you also feel the same way, or you, what's your approach?
So, for us, I was actually, so part of it is the fact that, I guess I'm torn, right? You can function as an F&B business, and we hustled so hard in the first few days, and we have some amazing friends in the startup community, thankfully, who helped us to get to a point where we had movement passes and we could run the business if we wanted to. Obviously, with very few staff, because a lot of the staff, we want them to stay home because different walks of life, and not everyone can afford medical care even if you do need it, so we're working at very, very low capacity, but we have been able to. And then on the other end, I was thinking, while it's very lucky that we're able to work, what we're not being able to do is actually be forced into the pause. So if anything, we're actually working harder and, being stretched even more to the limit because there's so much that we're doing with so few people. So I think in the beginning, I was afraid as well. And also there's a fear because every time you're going to the factory, while we know we're going just there into the gate and, we don't even meet anybody. But there's always if you're leaving the house, you're also a little bit more susceptible to bringing something back.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's a little bit scary. But I guess our kind of stages, you have to weigh both options, and we kind of took a call that we'll function, but we'll function at much, much lower capacity. So we're continuing to do that. But I think it's, nothing but positives, to be honest, whether it's, being able to spend time at home with family, even business-wise, I'll tell you, the fact that we've had to manage with so few people has given us a very different view on our own business because we know we can do much more with fewer people, which is a fantastic learning to have because now you know that you can push everyone to get that extra little bit because it's not actually a push, it's how it should be done. And you realize when you're pushed into a corner. So that's kind of fun. But also personally, what are you up to? What are you doing for fitness these days? There's no football outside, I guess, unfortunately.
Yeah, there isn't. I can't play with anyone, but I am playing a lot with myself, which has been great.
You have doggies at home, right? You have 3 dogs.
No, I have one dog. My mom has one dog, and my sister has one dog, and they often meet. So, yeah. No, in terms of fitness, I mean, honestly, there is so much that I am doing, and there's so much that you can do because there's no dearth of content right now. So from yoga to like just sprinting on my roof to doing like football drills on my roof, doing HIIT workouts at home. I switch it up every day. I make sure that I'm not getting bored with my workouts. I actually am really enjoying it. I have no complaints on that front, apart from, of course, playing football with my friends. That's about it. And then I'm cooking a lot, which is something that I've always enjoyed, but I haven't ever done to this level. Like cooking every single day, I haven't done since like whatever 1 month in New York that I probably did it for. And it's amazing. Like I look forward to my meals. I have a lot of fun. And yeah, otherwise, just I do follow a pretty like diet routine just because I feel a lot better doing that. So I wake up early. I work for a certain number of hours. I cook and then I read. I work out. So the days. I mean, I don't know how 6 weeks have gone by. I actually
Yeah. I can imagine. No, 6 weeks actually does feel a lot longer if you're not looking at it, I guess, from the positive side. And also the worst is if you're by yourself, that kind of gets to you.
That would be tough. What about you guys? Are you working out at home?
Yeah, we are. We're doing a lot of these kind of home workouts and trying to, as much as we can when we get home before 8 or 9, trying to get some workout in. But yeah, again, for us as well, we're trying to do a headstand, handstand, something. And I've been saying this on all my lives with such pride, but now it's been 6 weeks. I'm nowhere near upside down, so maybe I should stop showing off about it. But no, we're still trying.
Honestly, I'm all about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. Well, listen, I've taken up 45 minutes of your time, but thank you so much for being here. And it was very great to hear this. Yeah, super. Thanks.
Good luck.
Have a good evening. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining in. Bye.